welcome to another exciting edition of Late Night Reds, where we get together on every Sunday at 9 p.m. to go over the latest Reds news, topics, and events. And Ben, he's Ben Brown. I'm Skylar Webker. And Ben, we actually have things to talk about this week, thankfully.
Yeah, absolutely.
To start off with, the Reds re-signed Emilio Pagan since we last talked, which is super exciting. They bring a guy back, a familiar face back, who performed really well for this team until he pitched 1,000 innings and his arm fell off there at the end. So you hope that this year isn't going to be like that again. But hey, we have our closer. We have the back end bullpen guy.
Yeah, I think that was a really big get for us. And I think you mentioned it in our group text that we got him below market value.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was marketed at 12 a year, and we got him 10 a year. So you save, I guess essentially you save $4 million, and you've got a proven guy. I mean, he's a guy that went out there for you night in, night out, gave you everything he had. He started off rough. He gives up the home run on opening day, but for the most part, man, he was steady Eddie. He was really consistent for us being able to close out games, especially when you're put in a position where you don't think you're going to have to be the guy because you have Alexis Diaz.
Oh yeah,
and of course, and then Alexis Diaz craps the bed. He's injured start the season, then he craps the bed when he gets back, and he's shipped out. So then you become the guy, and you do a really good job. I mean, he did a good job for us all season. Until, like you said, we were running him out there night in, night out. He threw 1,000 pitches. So I mean, it's for the market that he's worth and the things that he was able to do for us. That's a big get for us.
Yeah, I'm pulling it up right now, but he pitched. What was his innings pitched? 69 innings last year, which is a lot for a closer.
Yes.
And look, 2-year deal, so 2-year, $20 million, 10 mil on each year with a player option next year. I'm curious on I'm curious how that will play and with the lockout happening after next year. And I'm saying it because it's almost certainly going to happen.
Yeah.
But with the impending lockout, I wonder how many guys are going to be looking for at least a 2-year something or another, or a year with an option to get a deal done. But look, I'm excited. Anytime you can bring back a 159 ERA plus guy that was a stud closer for you all the way up until that kind of last week or two. And you don't really have to worry about this bullpen. I still think they have a couple more moves to make in there, but if your setup guy is Tony Santillan and your closer is Emilio Pagan, that's a pretty good back of your bullpen, especially with your starters who could probably get you 7 innings a night.
Yeah, no, that's huge. It's a huge deal for your bullpen to have that guy set because, and I know we talked about it before. The closer role in general is a lost art because a lot of teams don't rely on just one guy anymore. But when you have that guy, when you see that, and a guy's able, and you can secure a win in the 9th with a guy that's consistent like Pagan was. It makes that decision that much easier to be able to go out there and have a guy that you can trust out there in the 9th inning, and there's no surprises. There's no, oh my gosh, who are we going to go to tonight, or is this guy going to be able to do it, or is this guy going to do it? Like, to be able to have a setup guy and a closer ready to go is a big deal. So I applaud the move. I applaud them being able to get him for the 2 years, 20 mil. And he's a proven guy. I mean, he came in and did the job when the job wasn't his, and he kind of took it. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
Alexis Diaz. I mean, he didn't do himself any favors, but Pagan kind of solidified himself while he was out, and then it just made things worse that Diaz was hot garbage when he came back. So, it's good. It's good thing to have that guy back.
Pat Magoosh is like one of my favorite comments right now. They're talking about how Ian Jabot gave up the opening day home run and everything like that, and they need to lock out Ian Jabot from the closer job, which he's not even on this team anymore. Thankfully,
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, he's gone.
But I think you're right. I think it's a good signing, especially for the money, because we've seen the reliever market be a little crazy. I mean, for reference, Raisel Iglesias got $16 million a year, which is crazy to me because I would think Emilio Pagan was a better closer this past year than Raisel Iglesias was in probably his Reds tender and then some.
Yeah, no, I think you're going to see a lot of that because of the possibility of the lockout, right? Like the market there isn't great. So, if a lockout's looming, you're going to try to seal guys up, at least for the 2 years. So you're going to try to get some guys before the lockout happens. So some teams feel pressure to kind of shore that up, and they may overpay for a guy, knowing that the lockout is looming and trying to make a push before that happens. So, 16 million a year for Raisel, that's kind of crazy, but
it was wild when the Braves did that.
That's wild. But yeah, you could start to see a little bit of that more because of the fear of the lockout.
Yeah, and I think there's just like I said, it's a good signing, the lockout impending and everything like that. But I do wonder how much Derek Johnson, just having your two guys be Derek Johnson and Terry Francona, like that's appealing. That would be appealing to me as a pitcher, as a player, as a position player, having those guys as your developmental hand and your manager and everything like that. So I hope that plays a role in more moves to come. But hey, the Reds said that they need to fix their bullpen or they need to rebuild the bullpen. And I think this is the first of the right moves in there. I think they might have another move or two to really solidify it. I think they need another lefty in that bullpen. But first move of hopefully more moves, but hopefully one big move, and we can get into all of the smoke that has been around Kyle Schwarber. I mean, there have been reports from so many angles, whether it's the Reds beat writers, whether it's national beat writers like Ken Rosenthal, whether it's MLB Network making comments and reports on it. I mean, holy cow, the Reds are so involved in anything. Anytime Kyle Schwarber's name comes up, the Reds are attached in that sentence, which is incredible to feel right now as a fan.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's, to me, outside of Alonso, I mean, and even probably more than Alonso, he's the biggest bat out there, right? Like as far as being able to drive in runs and hit home runs, like he's the guy right now. So for the Reds to be attached to that, it is definitely a good feeling. For that to be happening, I just feel like there's got to be some flexibility on the budget that we're not privy to. Like we're just two podcasters just trying to do a Red show, and I don't think that we're privy to the numbers. And in looking at it, I know that they said they wanted to be around 120 million, somewhere in there. I'm thinking that they're going to flex that a little bit. Because here's the thing, I think that this thing has so much momentum behind it. You've got to do something to cash it in. I don't think that there would be this much smoke around it if they were like, we're 120 firm, and we're like, there wouldn't be this much smoke around it if there wasn't some flexibility or some kind of plan in place in order to make it happen. I think that there's there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. I think there's some secret dealings. I think there's some already planned out roster moves. I think there's a lot of different budget moves that they're willing to do. I think that they're trying to get a feel of how they can make it work and not make it look crazy. And I think that's where they're at. I mean, you just don't see this much momentum around around getting a guy signed to your organization unless there's something's been said about them wanting to make the move. Like, most people wouldn't report that unless there's something going on. So I think that there's some flexibility there. I think there's some moves there. I think there's something that the Reds organization is doing in order to make it happen, or at least make it a possibility. If they were firm on their number, I don't think Kyle Schwarber would. I don't even think he would even make it an option if that, you know what I mean? Like if they were just firm on their number and they're like, we ain't moving from this. This is like, I think Kyle Schwarber's got enough pull and enough, say to be like, okay, well, the Reds aren't in it because they're not even going to be close to my number. But he hasn't said that. He hasn't really said anything about anything. But he definitely hasn't said the Reds are out. And the Reds
no one said the Reds are out.
Right. So it's like, so there's got to be something there to where there's got to be some kind of a number that the Reds know that they can hit on. And I think it's there. I do. I think there's something there. All these guys wouldn't report on if it's not, because here's the thing. The reporters have to have some kind of credibility, right? Like they can't just be out there, well, I think it's Schwarber to the Reds. And they can't just throw it out there like that. That's just bad reporting. Like you wouldn't do that. You know what I mean? Like, no reporter be like, hey, I heard Shohei's not happy in LA. You're like, come on, really? Like you can't throw stuff out there and be like. So where there's all kinds of things going on, I'm thinking that the Reds have something in mind that they're going to do, whether it's a trade or not. I mean, a trade, but just moving pieces around. Moving numbers around. I don't think the 120 is a solid number. I think they will throw more money into it because I think that Schwarber deal means so much to the organization.
Yeah, and Steve Offenbaker over at Locked On Reds, he agrees with you. He's telling you, keep preaching. Take us to church, Ben. Come on.
That's my guy.
No, I agree with you. I think, listen, the Reds said they want to be around last year's payroll. But everything that they're saying, every move that they're making, like, this front office, give them whatever criticism you want to give them. They know they're not going to get Kyle Schwarber for $10 million a year. Mm-hmm. And that they know that. So they wouldn't be in the process of this. They wouldn't be this deep in negotiations. They wouldn't be still attached to the guy this long if they weren't willing to go above that, whatever that number is. I think they're willing to do that for Kyle Schwarber. I don't know if they're willing to do that for anybody else, but they're willing to do it for him. And here's why I think it makes sense, not only just as a Reds fan, but why I think Cincinnati makes sense for Kyle Schwarber. If you look at all the other teams that he's kind of linked to, the reports came out right now that the Pirates offered him 4 years, $100 million, which is not getting it done. $25 million getting it done. And not to talk bad about the Pirates fans or hurt their feelings or anything, but you'd have to have a Pirates tax on that where like this team ain't going nowhere. So you got to throw some more on top of that, where the Reds were a playoff team, whether they got there legitimately or not because of the Mets, it doesn't matter. They were a playoff team. They are also young. Like, if you look at Philly, who's, I would say, probably the favorite for him, and the Reds are the favorite if he leaves Philly. Philly's got an aging roster. And Kyle Schwarber is also one of those aging stars. And they're going to legitimately need the DH spot just to get everybody's bats in whatever. The Reds can afford to have Kyle Schwarber be the permanent DH for the next 5 years. Because everybody's young. They don't need Spencer Steer at DH. Spencer Steer can play first. Spencer Steer can play left. They don't need, like Bryce Harper needs to DH. Nick Castellanos needs to DH. Trey Turner's needs to DH from time to time because he's getting older. Like, the Reds are young. Everybody on this team can play the actual position for the next 5 years, whatever it is. So position-wise, you're locked in at being just a DH for the next 5 years. You don't have to worry about anything else. Additionally, with those young guys, you get to be the loud voice, the mentor, the guy, because everybody's so young. You get to bring these guys up in your championship pedigree. You're not like, Mets are another team that got brought in. If Kyle Schwarber goes to the Mets, it's still Juan Soto's team. It's still Lindor's team. Like, if you come to the Reds are immediately your team. They are all rallying behind you. If you stay in Philly, that's Bryce Harper's team. So I think that's another thing that they definitely would be appealing to me. And finally, in this like tirade here, this is probably his last chance in free agency. 32, he'll be 33. Why do all of this again? Why risk taking a shorter term deal to do this again when you're 35 or 36? So this is probably his last time. If I'm a Cincinnati kid and this is my last time in free agency, likely my last time in free agency, I want to go out as a Red, my hometown team, my team. I get to be the voice on it. I'm the permanent DH. Like, everything makes sense in every aspect for him to be a Cincinnati Red. I think the ownership knows that. I think they value the voice that he's going to bring to this team, the mentorship he's going to bring to this team, as well as 58 home runs,
right?
Or 56 home runs. And they know that they're not going to get that for $10 million a year. I'm with Carrie here. Defer all of it. Pay him over the course of 20 years. I don't care. Defer.
Bobby Bonilla, that thing.
But they can get this done, and it feels like they have a legitimate shot at this.
Yeah. No, you bring up some really great points, and I didn't even think about that. But like, as a leader, and as a guy who wants to have some kind of legacy, what better legacy to have to come into this young team, this young clubhouse, be the leader, be the guy in your hometown, wear the uniform that you used to come to games and watch guys play, and now you're the leader of that squad. And not only are you the leader, like you bring like such a good point. You don't have to worry about the DH spot. You are the DH guy. You're that guy. You're the leader on this team. You're the DH, and it's your hometown team. Like, what better final story to write for your career than you being the guy, being the leader on this team? You're leading this team to a playoffs, hopefully to a World Series for your hometown team, and you've got just a bunch of young studs that are hungry and ready to play. Your Key Brian Hayeses, your Ellie De La Cruzes, your Matt McClains, your Spencer Steers. All these guys are just ready for somebody to take the lead. And you could walk into this situation being the bat that we need, being the leader that we need, and taking your hometown team over the top. Like you can't write a better story.
It's got me all jazzed up, dude. I'm ready. Like, I will buy a Kyle Schwarber jersey tonight. Like,
right.
But I
no
agree
doubt
with Carrie in the deferral piece, but also like the Dodgers front office has come out and said they've already made the Shohei money back. They haven't even started paying the guy yet. They've already made it back. Just in, well, granted, jersey sales and stuff like that. They have a bigger team. understandable. But tell me that Kyle Schwarber wouldn't be the number 1 or number 2 jersey behind Ellie De La Cruz on this team. Tell me that they wouldn't be in the playoffs every year or in contention every year and get playoff revenue shares for whatever and make it deeper, make it past the first round, get a higher revenue percentage. Like, those are things that I hope the front office are taking into consideration. And I also think that the Reds legitimately have a shot to compete for the next 5 years versus Philly's aging roster. Probably you're going to start seeing the downswing of these guys. And I could totally be wrong. Like, Bryce Harper could probably play till he's 50, but we already see Nick Castellanos is aging out there. Trey Turner is going to start to age. You're going to start getting these aging guys. Same thing with the Mets, who are all of a sudden linked to him now. These guys are going to start aging, where I think the Reds are at that prime point where they have young stars. They have a good team. They have granted, Pittsburgh has young stars, but they're nowhere even close to contention. Like, it would take Kyle Schwarber and then some to be in contention, where I think you put Kyle Schwarber on this team and they're immediately in contention.
Well, and what else it does for you is it makes other guys realize that the Reds are serious. You sign a Kyle Schwarber, and if there's somebody on the fringe that either wants to sign back or another free agent or whatever the case may be, where you're trying to build pieces, you go, ooh, they just signed Schwarber. Like, this team's for real. Like, they're trying to win now. And it's appealing to other free agents or guys where you're trying to build a bullpen around. You're like, okay, so you're telling me that I've got Hunter Green, I've got Andrew Abbott, I got Chase Burns, I've got all these guys, all Nick Lodolo, these starters, and now I've got a lineup that goes Schwarber and Ellie and Key Brian Hayes and Spencer Steer, and now I mean, ooh, like that's an appealing team to come to. Like, I want to play for that team because I think that I can help that team win games as well, as a reliever, or as a or another bat, or whatever the case may be. When you make moves like that, it makes it appealing for other free agents that may be on the fringe of, I don't know if the Reds are being serious, or I don't know if the Reds are where they want to be. When you make a move like that, everybody else takes notice, and they're like, oh yeah, the Reds aren't playing around. Like, let's get to that team and make something happen.
Yeah, and honestly, Carrie puts it. She's got a lot of great points here tonight. It would be like the junior welcome home event if Kyle Schwarber came. And granted, maybe a little less than that, because Junior was the face of the league. He was baseball, but like, I remember that day. That day was so cool. And insane. To have that, capture that again, I think that it would go a long way. And let's be honest, the front office doesn't have the best picture or the best relationship with Reds fans. What better way to immediately fix that? Like, we would all be happy with the front office if they were able to pull this move off. So I think there's just there's so much upside to everything. Yeah. Granted, it's not my money that I'm spending, but who cares? Right. I will spend money at the ballpark to go watch Kyle Schwarber and Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah, and then that's the thing that is a great point too, is that people are going to come when you know that they're serious. Like, that's going to bring in ticket sales, and I think y'all bring up a great point: jersey sales, ticket sales, TV market shares. All those different things that go into it. It's going to generate money to be able to make that money back and then some. I mean, it's like everything falls into place and everything makes sense to sign him. Like, it's really kind of crazy. I'm hoping that the Reds are like, yeah, we've got a plan in place. Be patient. It's going to happen. Let us execute this plan. And we'll go from there. I'm hoping that that's the case.
Could you imagine, like, how many networks are going to pick up the national broadcast of
Yeah.
the game. And when you have Hunter Green starting, then you have Ellie, Schwarber, Marte kind of in your top of the lineup. Like,
Yep.
how awesome! Like,
Yeah.
how awesome would that be?
They become national TV fodder, right?
Yeah.
Like when the you know when the Reds got or when the Bengals got Joe Burrow, they became national fodder. Like he
Yep.
was must see. The Reds become must see when when you go, Noelle Marte, Ellie, Schwarber, like those are names people want to see play baseball. And you got a guy like Hunter Green, you got an all-star in Andrew Abbott, you got a Nick Lodolo. Chase Burns is still a hot name. I'm telling you this right now. Chase Burns is still going to garner people to want to watch him pitch, because his stuff is so electric. So we have that national TV pool ability. And you add Kyle Schwarber to that, it's oh, and we got Terry Francona. Like that's one of the biggest draws of them all. I mean, because he is such a baseball guy. Like people love Tito.
Yeah.
So,
and that's got to be a pull to Schwarber as well to play for Tito. Like that's got to be a huge pull.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that guys that are baseball guys want to play for Tito. You know what I mean? Like it's and Schwarber's a baseball guy, so he understands that having a good manager and a good leader in the clubhouse makes a huge difference. And he's going to look at him and go, "You're our guy. You're our leader. You're the elder statesman. Let's start leading these guys to championship caliber baseball." And those two will work together great.
Yeah. And Nick puts up another thing. Like, this is why this is so, like, it just makes sense because him and his wife are from Cincinnati. They still live in Cincinnati in the off season. Think about all the local endorsements you get, like, as the local guy. And we talked about this last week. So whatever money you're getting deferred, because I think the Reds are going to have to make the competitive offer. I don't know how much of a hometown discount he'll actually give, but
right.
The Reds can defer as much as they want, and that would be appealing because, hey, I'm still guaranteed this money. Now I can stretch out longer as I age and maybe fall out, but like then you get all the local endorsements that behind you, which as the Cincinnati kid, like who they are, who's going to be ringing your doorstep. A lot of Laura Leans commercials, if you know what I mean.
It's Skyline time, you know what I mean? A guy, hey, he'll have more Skyline and La Roses he know to do it, you know what I mean? He's like, baby, get something to eat tonight. That's right, La Roses, we got it.
Jake Sweeney, that's another one that's always out there.
Oh, yeah. Yep, absolutely.
Oh my God. And just I legitimately think like when Junior came home, like there might be a parade for him just to coming to the ballpark to sign the contract. Like that's how much Kyle Schwarber would mean to this fan base.
Oh, absolutely. It would mean so much. I mean, it's kind of hard. It's really hard to explain because like unless you understand it and you realize it, like this is one of those where you feel like if you don't get it right, it messes up the whole next season. Like I'm not saying that I'm not saying that you throw the whole next season away, but like it's such a pivotal move, and it means so much to everybody in this organization and fan base that there's a possibility that it couldn't happen, but man, it would hurt if it doesn't. Like because it's right there. I feel like it's right there in our grasp. It's right there, and like it just takes a few things here or there to make it happen. And if it doesn't happen, I mean, it would be weird. It would be really weird. And that's not saying we
One
still won't
thing,
compete and go out and stuff, but
the one thing I'm like thinking through is like we're all excited. Like this would make sense. Like if we were in front of Kyle Schwarber, like he there's no way that he wouldn't be jazzed up about it. But
mm-hmm.
imagine all of these words coming out of Nick Krall's mouth. Like you got to be a little bit of a showman, man. You got to sell the story.
Hey man, we really want you. We really think you're a good baseball player. That's my Nick Krall. Sorry,
that might be one thing hurting the Reds. Is it Nick Krall's just lack of personality?
Well, here's the thing. He's got a backup. He's got to bring Tito with him. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
if Tito goes with him, then you're going to be all right.
That's a good point. Tito can sell you. He can get a cow excited about milk, man.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So Tito could sell it. It's one of those where you walk in like, hey, you're just going to hold the checkbook. I'm going to do all the talking. And when it's time to write the check, I'll point to you and you just write the check. You know what I mean? You're the check guy. You do that stuff.
That's it.
And then we'll get everything else figured out.
But as we all know, that it's going to cost more, and you led into it, is there might be some reciprocating moves in order to make a Kyle Schwarber happen. You know, there are other areas to address and things to have, but what are some guys that you see maybe not returning or being used as trade bait and maybe just as a salary offload to get there? I mean, the two guys that come to my mind are Gavin Lux doesn't really have a role on this team. That's $5 million that you could reinvest into 2 league minimum bullpen arms. And I don't want to see him go, but Brady Singer is another guy that I could probably get a starter at not at $12 million. Like you could probably get a Zach Littell back for not $12 million.
Yeah. The first one I thought of was Lux. Just because the point you made, like I just don't see his fit. Like and you could take his money and go out and add pieces that will contribute to your team. And that's not a knock on Gavin Lux. It's but you can make his value worth something else that's going to benefit your team. But Singer, that's a good one. I didn't even think about him, but that's another good one though, because you could flip him and re-sign Littell. And I feel like you would still be in the same spot because then you bring Chase Burns in to be the 5th starter. And you're still sitting really good with Green, Abbott, Lodolo, Burns, and Littell. Like that's still 5 really good starting pitchers.
And you have Louder.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And you get Rhett Louder back too. So, yeah, I can see both of those. The Lux one though is the one that I thought of first though, is because he just doesn't really have a spot and he was kind of underwhelming. So I mean, if you are able to offload that contract and flip it into a bullpen arm to be able to help you to make that run, I think that's a good move.
Yeah, and I'm sure like Colorado or Chicago White Sox, like those are guys that would love to take flyers on a Gavin Lux. And if you're the Reds, I don't think you really care what the return is as long as the other team eats whatever the contract is. Like to you, it's just a money thing. But
yeah,
I also agree with Kerry that I've seen some talks about McLean. I don't think so, just because of the chemistry that he and Ellie have up the middle. I mean, those two are work wonders turning double plays. We saw that kind of fall apart the times when Gavin Lux did have to go out there and play second base, where the defense wasn't as crisp, wasn't as sharp. And I have a lot of hope in not Gavin Lux. I have a lot of hope in Matt McLean bouncing back from an absolutely abysmal year last year. I think there's no way he can be that bad again. Like, even if he's just a little bit better, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way he's going to be that bad again.
Yeah, no, I definitely see this as a bounce back year for him. I think that's a really good point. I think he's really important to Ellie as far as the chemistry those two have. So I think the Reds really have to be, you have to be really mindful of that, because you don't want to upset your star. Not saying that they can't trade him. I mean, the Reds can do what they want, but those two have such great chemistry. You would like to keep that around. And I do see him having a better year this year. Gosh, I just think last year was an anomaly. I just, I think he's just a better baseball player than what he showed last year. And coming off of different injuries and ailments, you just don't know how people will bounce back and recover. So this year he'll have a full season, off season, be able to get healthy and try to figure it out. And I think he will have a better year next year for sure.
And look, I think he'll have a better offensive year for sure. But even if he doesn't, let's just say he doesn't, he still gave you above average fielding. He was 83rd percentile in fielding, and a 86th percentile in base running. So he was still valuable in those other ways. And he was 4 outs above average. So I think between the defensive prowess that he gives you, and then, like we said, the chemistry with Ellie, especially up the middle, turning double plays, I think that part is a little more valuable. And it's gotta be a better year. There's no way it can be worse. You can't be the 4th worst batsman in the sport 2 years in a row.
Yeah, no, yeah, I agree. I don't think it could get worse. And so even if the bat is a little bit better, his defense is worth having him there. But I think the bat will get better. And he still showed glimpses of being a really good baseball player. So I'm hoping that those glimpses become more big picture, because he can do it. I mean, 2 years ago, he was incredible. You know what I mean? So I know it's there. I just think that he needs a full year of being healthy and being able to have a full off season to be able to do, his workout and get some things done and some timing in. And you best believe he's wherever he's at right now, wherever he calls home, and he's grinding. So I mean, I think that he's determined to have a better year this year.
No doubt. And I think so. I think so. And I'm not worried about Matt McLean. I'm not worried about Key Brian Hayes, who was statistically the worst, but he was great when he came over as a Red. Like, statistically the worst last year, mainly because he had 100 games as a Pirate. But once he got to the Reds, man, he was able to poke the ball over the infield. He was great when he came as a Red. So I think those things keep going. I think the progressive steps keep going. TJ Friedel will still be TJ Friedel. And if they sign Kyle Schwarber, you don't really have to do anything else. Like, I'm fine if you want to throw Will Benson out there in left field. Totally fine. If you want to put Spencer Steer out there and put somebody at first base to whatever rotation, I don't care. I think Kyle Schwarber makes up for all of it.
No, I 100% agree. That signing there and putting him in your order, and in your lineup makes up for all the other ails that are going on. And as a Reds fan and as a person that follows the Reds, if you sign him, then you look past all the other small inconvenient things that we've been talking about, right? Like, well, we need an outfielder. If you can't sign Kyle Schwarber and he's in your lineup, then I'm good. I'm good. We don't have to fill that spot. Let's Let's build from where we are with Kyle Schwarber and go from there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think you add a big bat, like you said, you add a big serious bat or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
everybody on your team is then like, all right, that's my guy. I'm getting hitting advice
Mm-hmm.
from him. He's going to elevate everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm so excited for when that news drops that he is signed as a Red. I'm going to be hooting and hollering. I'm going to buy a Kyle Schwarber jersey that night. And I'm just so excited, man. This is, like I said, the Reds always do this. They're always interested in guys, but there's so much smoke around this and it's coming from not Reds writers. Like there's real fire and real momentum in this, and I think they can get it done. I think it's just honestly just slide the guy a check and say, you fill out the numbers. Like
You feel?
Like I don't care if it's 5-year 160. Like that's fine with me. Like 32 mil a year. Fine. I don't care. Just get it done.
Get it done. Yeah, and that's I agree with you on that.
And one last thing that we've kind of had happen this past week is I don't know if you follow Noelvi Marte online at all. But he was with all of the Latin stars. They got together for the I'm not going to be able to pronounce it right. The La Gente del Barrio, which is Vladimir Guerrero's kind of off-season endeavor where supporting fundraising for baseball in these Latin countries and these Dominican countries and stuff like that. And Noelvi Marte won the home run derby in Miami, the Home Depot Park, or whatever it's called, Marlins Park, beating out Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Jose Ramirez. Noelvi Marte beat Vladimir Guerrero Jr. and Jose Ramirez in a home run derby, which is awesome.
That's crazy. That's even crazy to say out loud. Like that's wild. But like that's just wild to even say. Like that those, I mean, between those three guys, like that's incredible. Like that's an incredible feat, whether it's off season or not. But I mean, we all know that Noelvi Marte is a very talented individual. When he's on and locked in, like we saw last year, like he's one of the absolute best. And the other thing that I like about it is that like he's around those guys in the off season, and those guys know how to play baseball, and they're winners. Like, you know what I mean? Like, like it's good that he's around that kind of talent and he's competing with that kind of talent in the off season. That's only going to benefit him going into the season, because if he's doing those things with those guys, that means he's working out with those guys, he's training with those guys, he's hitting with those guys. So it's good to see him taking his off season and being around guys that are phenomenal baseball players, putting in the work. And shoot, you win a home run derby against that. Those guys got to pay dinner for a while because they got big contracts.
Yeah, they're picking up a lot of checks.
They're picking up a lot of checks.
But yeah, I'm as far as news goes, that's all we are. Hopefully next week we're talking about Kyle Schwarber being signed. The winter meetings officially kind of kicking off this week, so we'll see how much actually gets done in these winter meetings. I know it's usually a lot of trades get done, but a couple of free agents can sneak in there, and it feels to me that this Kyle Schwarber thing's coming to a boiling point. So I expect something hopefully within the next week and definitely before Christmas. So please, Santa, that's all I want is Kyle Schwarber to be a Red.
Man, that would be an awesome Christmas gift.
No doubt, no doubt. So that we can go ahead and get up out of here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. We're on every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Use our code Riverfront to get $20 off your first purchase through SeatGeek. That can be Bengals games, Reds games, like Disney on Ice. It doesn't matter what it is. Just use our code Riverfront to get $20 off of your first purchase through SeatGeek. We encourage everybody to join our ever-growing family of Cincinnati sports fans and support the show through Patreon. That's patreon.com/RiverfrontCincy. Any tier gets you access to our Slack channel where you'll get all of the breaking news from us. You'll get to interact with us and Seth and everybody else. It's a really great community, and we're really proud of what we've built over there. Go ahead and like and subscribe over on YouTube and get the latest not only from our show, but from the Riverfront Red Show, as well as Welcome to the Jungle. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook at Riverfront Cincy, and please subscribe to the audio version of this podcast. We're on all of them for free, and give us ratings, reviews, all of it. Everything helps. You guys have a direct impact on the show, so let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't. We're just Cincinnati sports fans trying to put on a good show for other Cincinnati sports fans. So for that long-winded statement, I'm Skylar Wepker. He's Ben Brown. And as always, go Reds.
Go Reds.